This is one of the most controversial gaming mice of 2022, but it's also one of the best you can buy right now. With aggressive pricing and weighing only 50 grams, the Glorious Forge Series 1 Pro is actually a really good gaming mouse you can get your hands on. The only problem is you have to overlook Glorious's questionable ethics and ignore the controversy surrounding the launch of this gaming mouse. Well, I'll start off with the shape and size, which is the most important thing in any gaming mouse. And size-wise, it's basically in between the Viper V2 Pro and the Razer Viper Mini. In fact, this mouse, summed up easily, is just a bigger Razer Viper Mini. The shape looks almost identical, just a little bit bigger. It's a little bit longer than the Viper Mini. The sides are a little bit less narrow than the Viper Mini. The click position is a little higher than the Viper Mini, and the bump on the back is a little taller than the Razer Viper Mini. So if you thought the Viper Mini was too small but a nice shape, you will really like the Series 1 Pro. It is a bit different to the Viper V2 Pro though, even though it slots in between size-wise, because the V2 Pro has a very long and low and sleek body, whereas this is kind of shorter, stubbier, and with a very steep middle arch. What this basically means, if you don't know what the Viper Mini shape is like, is basically you've got a shape that's going to be great for medium to large hands for claw or fingertip grips. And if you have smaller hands, it's going to be great for claw gripping or possibly even palm gripping. Though I strongly recommend against the latter, since the groove on the right side for your pinky and forefinger isn't very spacious for, comfortable palm grips. For me, I really like this mouse shape, and I really like the fact that the bump of this mouse is towards the front, since the way I claw grip the mouse is my palm hanging off the back of the mouse, so the fact that the bump is in the front means it's not being intruded and pressed against, which is also what I like about the final mouse Starlight 12, which this is replacing as my daily driver. And yes, this is also a very light mouse, just like the final mouse Starlight. It's 50 grams. That plus the fact that it's got mice feet that are pretty good and pretty slippery means it slides across my QCK mousepad no problem. I understand the QCK is a very high friction mousepad, but it still manages to be very slippery, so that tells you how light and how smooth this mouse is. Speaking of smooth though, the coating on this mouse is unfortunately extremely smooth. I mean, it doesn't really have a coating. Modern gaming mice don't have coatings, but the material finish on here is just very slippery. It feels like this mouse is trying to fly out of my hand at any one moment, and that is very unfortunate because it means it's pretty hard to grip. They could really do with a better finish on the Series 1 Pro, because I didn't want to add extra weight with grip tape, but I kind of have to since it's so slippery. If you're picking up your mouse often, it's going to be a bit of a problem. The clicks though are really brilliant on here. They're super light, super snappy, and they have basically zero pre-travel. They do have quite a bit of post-travel though, resulting in kind of a squishy bottom out that does make it feel a little bit spongy. I like it because it helps me kind of do spray control better. The thumb buttons are very nice. They're very light and very crisp, but they aren't my favorite thumb buttons ever. I would say that they're still a bit too dull sounding and dull feeling to really be like sharp and crisp the way I want it. The scroll wheel, unfortunately, is something that I'm not the biggest fan of. It's a bit high friction and a bit hard to scroll quickly. So if you're trying to bunny hop because you have jump set to your scroll wheel, it doesn't feel all that great. Like it's a bit rough and a bit stiff. I wish they put a lighter scroll wheel in here. But at least it's rubber coated and feels very grippy, so very easy to reach for. It only has a Pixart PMW3370 sensor, which if you're looking for the best possible sensor of 2022, this is not it. Like the best sensors of 2022 will be like the 3395 you find on the Lamzu Atlantis or Pulsar X2, or maybe the Razer optical sensor you find on the Viper V2 Pro or the G Pro X super light sensor. Those are like the best sensors you can get right now because they have motion sync and the latest generation technology. But truthfully, unless you are a spec whore, this sensor is going to be more than enough. And for 95% of gamers, heck, even pro players, they probably won't notice any issues with the glorious Series 1 Pro. And there are way more important things in a gaming mouse like the clicks, the shape, the size, and the feel in the hand that this more than makes up for the lower end sensor. But this lower end sensor does come with a substantially lower end price, which means it's going to be a way better value for money than a lot of its competition. You can get this in Singapore on resale for 110 Singapore dollars, and I expect this price to be even lower when Glorious finally makes this mouse readily available and not a limited group buy resale only gaming mouse, which means it's going to be a pretty good deal for a 50 grams gaming mouse with a decent sensor and a really nice shape and really great clicks. In fact, in Singapore, just Just on resale price alone, it's half the price of a Viper V2 Pro. And at that kind of value, and the fact that this is lighter than the V2 Pro by 5 grams, Glorious Forge Series 1 Pro is actually really good choice. But the problem with the Glorious Series 1 Pro, apart from its coating, is really that it's from Glorious, a company that's been mired in countless controversies over the last couple of years, and their reputation has definitely taken a hit. Is it a company that you truly want to support? For me, I've already paid money for this gaming mouse and I'm not selling it, so it's become my new daily driver. It's that good of a gaming mouse. But for people who are thinking about this from a more moral standpoint, do you want to support a company like Glorious that has had a bunch of controversies and shady stuff happen? That is completely up to you. If you do not care and you just want a great gaming mouse for the price, the Series 1 Pro is a really great option. But if you do care, then you might have to look elsewhere, perhaps at the Pulsar X2 or the Pulsar X2 Mini. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. There will be another video tomorrow, so subscribe for that.